Good Monday morning, you guys. Oh my gosh, it is freeze your ass off here, okay, in Texas. I know. I am not built for the cold, you guys. Us
I'm not
Texans
either. I
are
agree.
not. No, not at all. But you guys listening to Author Talk with me, Amy Russell. Sandy's back with us this week. Yay!
Yay!
And we are talking to
Mm.
DC Gomez. I know
Oh, shut up.
Russell's in between. Russell
Russell,
is
thank
in
you.
between.
I thought something was wrong with you because you've been so nice to me lately. So
Oh
nice
my
to see the
Some
real
goodness.
Sandy's
Russell coming
lying.
through.
Oh, you guys, I love it. I miss it. My Monday mornings are made when I get to hang out with you guys. So let's just dive into the weekend, shall we? Josh came back from his work trip. He ended up staying a little bit longer. He went to one of his friends' wedding. I didn't get to make it because, last week I told you about how everyone in my family was sick. Well, I wasn't going to let them bring that here. So I stayed home with our kids and he went and partied it up at one of his friends' wedding. And he came back and he is back out of town. But today
God,
is
how
just
did
for the
he have the
day.
nerve?
I know. How dare him? How
How
dare
did he have
him?
the nerve? I wouldn't have had the balls to have done that. I just gotta
Well,
tell you.
I know, I know. But it's all good. It's all good. No worries. So other than that, he is back out of town, but today that's just for the day, and he will be back hopefully tomorrow, unless he just decides, he's gonna stay there. But whatever. So he will be coming back. Meadow is back, has a full week of school this week. And I'm telling you, this getting up and being functional, like enough to drive, drop her off, and be patient at 6 in the morning is a little much. Okay. It's pushing me a little much. And when it's cold, it's freeze your ass off outside. No, I'm not a nice person in the cold. Okay, you guys. So other than that, I survived my terrorist all week and weekend. Okay, I've survived them. I have kept the fort down, and I'm counting down the hours until Josh gets home where he can take over my shift. Okay, so I'm just saying, well, I've kept them alive, and I think that's a greatest accomplishment for 7 days. Okay, you guys, on my own. So, other than that, your girl's just hanging out. I am going to be packing, getting ready for this working cruise that I'm going on with Judith. The girls are super excited. We went and got them some cute little bathing suits. And so other than that, I am just trying to keep up on laundry, you guys. That it's going to be the death of me. Laundry is literally the death of me. I
We're still
warned my
talking
You
about
family.
do
that
not
again
say
this
that.
week.
I'm telling you, you guys, I told my family this week because God, I'm telling you, DC, I have two girls, right? When I die, I told my family not to put the clothes with me. Just burn them at that point. Don't bury me with laundry. Burn them. Okay? Because I've had enough of all of that. So, anyways, that was my uneventful / surviving week and weekend. I hope you all had a lot more eventful fun times. Russell did, I know, with Rita and her little puppy cute self. So, Russell, what did you and Rita get into this weekend?
Okay, well, I know this is weird, but so my wife decided to buy a new refrigerator, right? Because the other one was starting to make weird noises occasionally. And so
Mhm.
it was going to go out. And she was like, "What do you think?" Blah, blah. I said, "I don't care what you do. But if you get a new refrigerator, make sure it makes those big round ice cubes that I
Oh,
need for my
yeah.
maker's mark. That's
Yeah.
the only thing I want."
Okay.
And it was delivered Saturday, a new refrigerator that makes my big round ice cubes for my drinks. And
Way
that
to
was
go,
the only
Melinda.
thing important to me.
Okay.
And we also decided she at the beginning of the year, she said, "Look, uh, we since we moved to Atlanta about 3 years ago, we live in a pretty cool area, and but we've gone to all these restaurants like 10 times." She was like, "I want to start going to different parts of Atlanta, to new restaurants that we've never gone to." So I was like,
Okay.
"Okay, okay." So this weekend we went to Bones Steakhouse, and we circumvented needing reservations that you need for like weeks by going to the bar, and we just ate at the bar. And you get the same food as you do the rest of the place, but you don't have to have reservations. You and uh we had a real swinging time. They almost had as nice an ice cubes as I get in my refrigerator now. So
Oh.
I'm
I
I'm
like
pretty
it.
happy.
I like a
That's
refrigerator that
great
makes
that
good
you
ice
judge the
cube.
place based on their ice cube.
That's
I
what's important.
I would too. Hey, I feel you. I would too. 100% because I like those ice cubes too, and I judge a refrigerator based on those. Unfortunately, though, I did not get what I wanted in my refrigerator, but that's okay. I'll wait.
Yeah,
That
the
the
next
I
house next month you will.
Yeah,
I
there you
didn't
go.
even know to look for a specific type of ice cube, so I will keep that in
Yes.
mind for the next time I buy a refrigerator.
Yes.
Sandy, I'm with
And
you.
Russell, we'll talk off another time as to exactly what they're like. So great, that's great. I love that.
I love it. I love it. Well, DC, Sandy, what did you guys do this weekend?
Go ahead, DC.
I honestly, this is the first weekend I'm home in February, so I've just been thrilled of not having to do anything. I have been on the road all month long. I have another event coming up next weekend, so the fact that I just, granted, I'm with you, I'm doing laundry, so like I never thought I would actually enjoy it. But since you've never been home all
You
month, I'm
sound
like,
like
oh,
you need a drink with one of my ice cubes in it, and you'd
I
have a better
do.
weekend.
I so
She does.
do.
I
Sign me
believe it.
up.
She's
Mhm.
doing laundry. Of course she needs that. Yeah,
Why are we
that
always
makes
doing
laundry
laundry?
fun. Telling you. I like it. I like it. Sandy, what about you?
Well, since we're on the topic of drinks,
Okay.
I was in Port Aransas a year ago and went to this thing at this one little it was a turkey bowl. I don't know if you know what a turkey bowl is, where they take a frozen turkey and throw it down a bowling alley looking thing outside. And anyway, they had
No idea.
drink that I had was a espresso martini,
Mm.
and
Okay.
I had never had one before, but that was so amazing, so
So you
good.
were totally awake and blasted at the same
Oh,
time.
well, and yes, and I was like, oh my god, I have tried since then to redo that particular drink, and even though I get a espresso martini, they don't taste the same as that. So I bought different things, bought different things to go with it, things to put with the vodka and all that. This week and into the weekend when I'm getting ready to go to Mexico, we made one, and my husband said, "This is the best drink I've ever had," and I'm like, "Okay." And it did taste not exactly like the one in Port Aransas, but it did taste wonderful. So that's my drink. That's but the weekend, practicing that.
So we're all
Holy shit.
drunks this
Nice.
week.
I was sober as a jaybird. I don't know what
But
you're talking about.
I did not get
Yeah,
drunk.
it was
I only had a
Josh that
couple of
got to
drinks
go party.
Yeah, Josh
because
is the
I
one.
was
Josh is the one. That's true, Russell. Josh was the one that was lit, having fun at his little party. That's true. That's
and
true.
I was really getting ready for my trip to Mexico. I will be leaving March 1st. So I believe that's next Saturday. But anyway, I will be leaving and I'm down there for an entire month. So I
Ooh.
am so beyond excited. One of the things that excites me is, and I hate to say this out loud, but no dog. I will have no dog for a month.
You
And
go,
DC,
Sandy.
I have four
Now,
dogs.
Sandy, there is nothing you hate to say out loud
Sandy, you
because you
shut your
love
mouth.
to
No
say out
dog.
I know because
loud.
I love them to death. I love
Well,
them.
they're
But
rats, so
I
you can't
need a
actually love a
break.
rat.
Oh,
I understand.
I
Sandy.
sleep at night with two chihuahuas, one across my chest and
Okay,
one in my lap.
that's just poor life choices.
Oh, Russell.
Oh, so you're
But
not
I am
holding
looking
back.
forward to a break. So,
Poor life choices. Oh,
Poor
wow.
life choices. Hey,
and
we
DC, I
need
can't
we.
wait to talk to you because I've heard about you so much.
Okay, wait. We got to thank our listeners first. And
Okay.
we want to thank our listeners. Most people, DC, don't watch us on Monday morning because they don't want us to brighten up their day the way we do. They want to listen to us during the week on our podcast. We're very excited because we're like top 1% of some of the channels. We're very excited about that and shocked and humbled also because why would anyone want to sit around and listen to us? But we're excited. We get to talk to authors like you. Uh, when we first got on podcast channels, I couldn't find us. I couldn't find us for months. Amy would talk to me when she'd tell me how to find us like I was stupid because I was kind of. So she actually treated, and she owes me. But then she did some stuff. She says it was selfish, but it wasn't because all of a sudden I could find us. Amy, where can
Yeah.
they find us?
Well, Russell. I think Russell could find us the whole time, actually, you guys. I think he just said that to irk me.
I could not because
think
you
you
remember
just
I
irked
kept
me.
asking, where are we? Where are we?
I know, but I think eventually it just became this fun little game. But anyways, so the places you can find us, my go-to is Amazon Music, Spotify, Good Pods. I'm an Android user, so Google Play. If you're an Apple user, iTunes. If you want to watch us and see how animated we are and how much fun mine and Russell's facial expressions towards one another is, you can go over to our YouTube channel. You can come over to our Facebook group, any one of our social media channels. You can catch us live. You guys know Mondays at 10 a.m. because I just make Russell's Monday morning as he does mine.
10
But-
a.m. Central Time.
I'm sorry, Central Time. Yes. But you know what? You can go and see all of our episodes and seasons for 9 years. So it's kind of nostalgic. We have the OG starters, right? Russell and Sandy on, and then I was just behind the camera, and now here I am in front of it. But you can go and see how we started, how we grew, and evolved into what we are now, and how it has done. But we've been doing it for 9 years. So much fun. We've talked to so many amazing people in the writing community, industry, authors, all kinds of fun jazz. So you can go over there and see us, have a good laugh with and at us, because half the time I'm laughing with and at myself. So you can come on over and join in on that. But you guys, other than that, Russell, I have a bone to pick with you actually this week. I don't know how often you get on your Instagram account, but
0.
I know, but I did. You were on there though, sir. So I did send you on there 2 weeks ago. We talked about the web novels, right? And
Okay, DC, wait. DC, do you know what we're talking about?
I don't think so, but
I did not know till 30 seconds before this subject jumped up on us. Amy, tell the listeners what we're talking about before you go on.
okay. So a web-based novel is, if you listen to our episode 2 weeks ago, I'm going to I'm going to summarize that whole thing for you. I'm sorry. 3 weeks ago, everything blends together, you guys. So what it is you can go and write these novels and you release them scene by scene or chapter by chapter.
okay.
And you can do it genre specific. Like there's paranormal, there's just a strict one just for werewolf romances. There's fantasy, historical, time jump, all those, right? And so you can go, and a lot of you guys have seen them when you're going through your reels and there's an advertisement and there's a ton of text scrolling with a catchy song, right? It's a text to a story. It's generally you get the first 3, 4, maybe 5 chapters for free. And then you download this app and you can buy coins or whatever, and you read scene by scene. Now you can go and put them up there. And then when that story is completed, you can put it as a novel, put it up on Amazon and sell it, right? But you grow your following, your Facebook groups, all those things by doing web-based genre-specific novels. So they also have audiobooks that are not written books. They are only performed audibly, right? Not like Amazon audibly, but like audio-based, right? So you can't read them. You have to listen to them. And so this was a hot conversation that we had 2-3 weeks ago. I'm lucky I know my name this week. And so I sent Russell and Valerie on Instagram, because that's primarily where I see these advertisements. I sent them to you in your message so you could see what the ads look like and
You
know
need
that
to
I'm not.
email it to me or something. I don't even know how to log on to my Instagram anymore.
Okay,
You
so
might need
I'll
to
do you
email
a
that to him.
favor. I
What,
will
DC?
go.
You might need to email him the login to his
I know.
Instagram.
Yeah, I
Okay,
don't know
I
how to
know.
log into my own Instagram anymore.
Well, Russell, I will copy the link and I will post it on Facebook in the Facebook message, because I know you know how to use that because you messaged me, so you can see it. Now, it's probably going to take you to Instagram. You don't have to log in to see it. But when we were talking about those and I mentioned the advertisements, what they look like, that's what these look like, right? And there was like, man, I think I got bombarded that day with like 50 of them, because they're always listening and that's how they're retargeting, right? And
You
so
opened
I
up that
sent them
window,
to
Amy.
you and Valerie. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that as soon as DC gets talking. I'm gonna go find it. I'm gonna send it to you so you can watch it and know that like there is a ton of things out there But
And then the algorithms will think that I am
yeah,
interested in it too. And so then I'll get bombarded. So I'll get it'll
I like it.
reinforce whatever you're saying.
Yeah, I like it. I like
I
it.
had not been heard call it a web novel. Like I heard like episodes, like a chapter base. That's kind of what I'm used to that term, when Kindle, Amazon was doing Vella. That's kind of that big thing. Wattpad has it.
Yeah.
Veeam does it. So it's different areas that have the chapter base, episode base. That is definitely you buy coins and you kind of join that. I don't have the patience. Like I'm very much like instant gratification. So I want my books now.
Yeah.
So this
I
whole
get that.
having to wait, I'm like, yeah, I'm not the target audience. Like I need this now. Is it done?
Yeah.
And let's finish this.
Well, like I get that. Like I get that wholeheartedly. I understand that. But I think what for me comes into it is how everybody says the best way to sell a book or to know if you're going to enjoy the book when you go to like Barnes Noble and you read a physical book is you have to read like the first page, but it's like isn't it like the first sentence or the first 5 sentences? If you're not captivated by that, then you're not going to enjoy the book.
That is so terrible. That is a modern American thought that I just hate. I got to tell you, especially DC, I'm like a Proust lover.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever read Proust, but you have to read like 500 pages before you can even like the book. But that's not the way you can write it anymore. If a reader doesn't like the first what Amy's right. I'm not
Yeah.
saying you're wrong, Amy. I'm
No,
just saying
I
I
know.
hate the truth.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Well,
I
yeah.
concede you're right. I just hate that because the first page, the first chapter, if we don't hook a reader, we lose a reader. So
So,
I know you're right. I just hate it.
I
Yeah.
think it
You're
has
absolutely
changed.
right. You're absolutely right, though, because there's been several authors. One that comes to mind is Larry McMurtry, and I remember reading several. I mean, I read a lot of his books, and almost every one of them, at some point in the book, I'm like, "What am I wasting my time reading this book?" It's not really getting to me. But something said, "No, keep going." And then when I got through and looked back over the entire book, he was the best writer that I had ever read. It really just all came together. But if you didn't finish the book, you would not get that from him.
Well, so there's this popular book that's going around, right, on Book Talk, right? We all have this love-hate relationship with Book Talk. I'm going to make this quick so we can get DC talking about our books. But on Book Talk in the romance realm, there's you have your like trending books, and you can go and see what they are because they're the ones that say popular on Book Talk, bestseller on Book Talk on Amazon, right? They have all these badges and they have it. And if you know what book I'm talking about Lights Out is what it's called. And I read the book not knowing what all was going into it. Trigger warnings, I don't really have any. So I read it. And the only reason I kept reading this book, I kid you not, because the first few lines for me didn't captivate me, which I'm a firm believer in it. So like when these ads are scrolling and you have the text and you have to read, if I am enjoying what I'm reading and I'm curious as to what's going to happen, whether it's from the beginning of the book or the middle of the book, it doesn't matter. I want to know what happens. Then yes, I'm more inclined to download the app and then I'll see how many total scenes or chapters they have. If it's not stupid and continuously
This is one of
ongoing.
those web novels you're talking about, aren't
Yeah,
you?
well, Lights Out isn't, but I'm talking about in terms of web novels, how you can judge it is if you're curious about it, right? Because some of them will say ongoing and they have like 1,300 scenes or chapters. Those are just money grabs when you're looking at web novels. But some of them that like end at 329 or whatever and they're completed, those aren't just money grabs, right? Anyways, I fell for this book, Lights Out, on Book Talk. I bought it on Kindle, and the first few chapters, you guys, were just incredibly difficult for me to read. Like the storyline wasn't the best or anything like that. The only reason I continued reading this book, right, because I am an advocate, if I don't like the first page, your girl's not reading it anymore, is because of the humor. The humor in the point of views and how the characters kind of like talked to themselves and bantered and like had this quirky humor is the only reason I continued reading it. Not that it was well written, not that the story and the plot line really captivated me. I found it really far out there, right? But the humor is what kept me going. So yes, I mean, to an extent, the first few sentences is how I judge a book, which is mean. I know, but I don't want to waste my time with a book. I try
Okay,
not to DNF a book.
I've got to ask DC a question before Sandy takes off. DC, we'll let Sandy take off. I want you to get right into your book, but when you answer her questions, try to work in the answer to how you write humor into your books. Would you do that for me? Because
Okay.
I'm interested in that. Okay, Sandy, I capitulate to you now.
Well, so you already interviewed or talked to DC?
No, I think it's
Okay,
been at least a year or
How
two.
do you know she has humor in her book? You read her book?
I've
I'm
read
just
some of them.
curious.
I've
Oh,
read some
I
of them.
don't
Yeah.
know, but I'm anticipating that she
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
does.
I
Because
do.
And
it sounds like you've
obviously, I was not wrong because
okay.
obviously she said she did.
I
Mm.
do.
Well, and before I start with the questions, I know I've heard of you, and I'm trying to remember who you were with or who you were connected to or why did I hear about you? But I know as soon as I saw the name DC Gomez, I'm like, oh, good.
So
So
Sandy,
anyhow,
we met DC Gomez at the first time I met her, and you were with me. We were at a Comic-Con with Greg, and Author Talk had a table, and DC was
okay,
there at her table, and I want to say it was DC, and then Mac Little, Fern, and
okay,
Greg were all kind of in like this square, like rectangle shape, and that Greg is the one that introduced me to DC
Mhm.
and told me all about her books, and that was it NerdCon DC
It
that
was
we were
even,
at?
I think so. It was either NorCon or Pacific Rim. It was
Well,
one of
Amy
them
Yeah.
two.
loves that stuff so
I
much. That's
yeah,
butter to her. She
it
yes,
loves
is.
yes,
the.
and she is very very good at it. I mean,
She's
it
always
really
dressed up.
surprised me the first one I went to, and here comes who were you, Amy? I forgot.
I went as Captain Marvel
Yeah,
that
Captain
year.
Marvel.
But yeah. So I mean, I've done those. I haven't been back since Greg passed. I haven't been back. I can't go to them anymore, to be honest with you. But I knew when I met DC Gomez, I knew which one it was because it was my first time going. And Greg had talked to me like the whole time about it. And he was so excited that I was there. And Sandy was there as Author Talk. I think it was NerdCon because what is his name? I can't remember his name, but like the creator of it, and then Jerry was also the co-creator of it.
You
And
even made
James.
me go to one. I remember.
that's the one you went to was
Was that?
NerdCon.
So
Yeah.
so the reason I think DC has the cooler name is because I've met her before too. Then
Yeah. So we've
Yeah,
all met
probably.
DC.
Yeah.
That was the first time because
that's
Sandy,
the
your
cool
husband
name.
came too, and you had the Chihuahua
Yeah,
shirt
but
on.
poor David.
Oh, poor David. No, I love
Have to
Actually,
go to
David.
that stuff.
he had a good time for the first few hours, but then he was
Yeah.
ready to go
David could appreciate a
Yeah.
good ice cube and a drink. I bet.
Yeah,
home.
but that was the first time because I don't remember how many books you had out at that time, but you were by Greg or there was a person in between you
Mhm.
guys because it was Artist Alley, but like creative, like Writer
Yeah.
Alley. Because Mac Little was there too, Fern was there, and then we were there. So I remember that's when we first met her. And that was, God, DC. What
Been a
was
minute.
that? Was that? I had just had Meadow. So that was almost 6 years ago. Because I had
19?
Meadow. Yeah, because I had Meadow in
Mhm.
19. I had her in July. And I want to say that was like August or September. I think theirs
Yep.
are always in September. So it was September when we went. And I only had Meadow at the time. So in 19. So yeah, man,
Mhm.
almost 6 years ago, DC. Oh my
It's been a
God.
minute.
It's been a hot minute for sure.
Well, good. I'm so glad I remembered you. I just couldn't remember where, but yay, then it's nice to see you again, DC.
I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I'm always just laughing and cracking up because you guys are so animated. I'm like, oh my God.
It's so good for you. You know, laughter's one of the best things
Yes.
for you. I love
But
it.
and awesome. You should have said
You guys
creative
are definitely awesome.
and awesome.
Absolutely.
It's awesome. Okay. Yes, Russell. We do everything you tell us to do. Not.
I have a
But
question
anyway.
about that one.
So tell me which book it is that we were talking to you about today.
So we're talking about my new novel. It is Cursed by Fur, and I'm going to give you
I
guys.
see that. I'm on your website.
It's Cursed by Fur, and this is a spicy retelling of Little Red Riding Hood. and she's not the good one. So it's kind of a little
Oh.
assassin / serial killer thriller book taking place in my Reapers universe. So this is the one we're going to be chit-chatting about. And yes, Russell, I do lots of quirky characters, lots of dark humor in my books. And I don't actually put trigger warnings in them because I'm doing thriller. So if I give you I think if I give you a lot of trigger warnings, you kind of just going to know what the book's about. So I kind of have to balance that very well. So this book takes place in Texarkana. For anybody who's in Texas, kind of a little bit shut up on my town. So
That's
Texarkana.
pretty scary right there, DC.
So
That's
hey,
pretty scary.
taking you down to East Texas in terms of where the supernatural communities all place. And this book is about 5 years in the universe where my series original one took place. So
why Texarkana?
So I originally am from Massachusetts. I'm actually from the Dominican Republic. Moved to the town, and at the time, I really wanted to write small town. I fell in love with Charlene Harris and the whole, True Blood and like Midnight Texas. And I'm like, how do you make small town kind of exciting? Because she is the queen. Let's be honest. Like, then nothing happens in a small town, and yes, she has all this madness going on. So I wanted to do small town. I do lots of urban fantasy. That's kind of my baby. I really enjoy it. Even though I write in multiple genres, I enjoy it. So Texarkana was like, there's nothing here. Like, that's the joke if you ever come to town. Like, nothing happens in Texarkana. So it was one of those books. I'm like, how do I make things happen here without having to leave my house? And how do you make it exciting? So I come with the actions. I have a lot of explosions. We have madness and shenanigans. I have a talking cat. So yes, there's a little bit of everything in this book for people who enjoy lots of action, urban fantasy.
Very nice. I looked at. Well, I love the cover. I'm looking at the website now. So, so it was released in 2024, 2025.
And this one actually came out last September. So this is part of what is called the Curse 5 series, and it's all retelling. So the series are a whole bunch of standalone books. They all have to be spicy. So chapter 1, if you need chapter 1 to figure out if you're going to like this book, starts with, I call it like, there's some sex and some killing, since it has to have some spice. So this is kind of where I put it all in the beginning. If you can make it through chapter 1, then you're fine. If not, it's just going to be a whole bunch of magical world in here. So that's how chapter 1 starts with the whole, who did it, why did she do it, and how do we find this girl?
Sounds like a great read. I can't wait. So, what have you done to promote the book and market the book since it came out? Is this the latest book?
Is this a what?
The last book.
Yes. So this one, we did a huge PR campaign since it was part of the series itself. So we have done a PR campaign for Books and Matches Media. We did a huge one in TikTok. It's just kind of getting the word out. I think every time, it's one of those things. It's the curse of every author, whether we like it or not. It's kind of where the readers are at. It's interesting because this is the only non-romance book in this series. So when we released it, it was one of my questions marks for my girl. I'm like, people were like, we had to come with a whole bunch of like statements. I'm like, hey, this is not a romance. This is urban fantasy. It doesn't have a happily ever after, just because the other 8 books are very romance heavy. So when you happen to be part of a series and yours is a little darker, I say a little, it's very darker compared to everything else, you have to kind of come with those disclaimers. I was very much amazed how well the readership took it and how much fun they had. And they're like, that ending, I was not prepared for that ending. I'm like, I did warn, we came with warning labels. It was not going to end how you expected. So it became a very much fun, just kind of adventure for it. And right now we're getting ready to start running ads to it on Facebook. So for people who are interested in a fun madness experience, this is the book.
So what other book would you compare it to? Say, some books that the one of the people that we've interviewed in the past, and they had a book that was kind of like the latest version of Chronicles of Narnia. So so you could do a marketing thing and say, if you like Chronicles of Narnia, So what book would we compare yours to? And yours is Cursed by Fur. I love that. You want to say Cursed by Fire, but it's Cursed by Fur, F-U-R.
I will give you 2 things to compare it to. For people who enjoy like a visual, this is a very visual book. If you enjoy the series Supernatural, this is the book that you will love. Like this is kind of in that essence of, the realm being here and the between worlds that's taking place. Also, if you enjoy any of like Jim Butcher's books. So a Jim Butcher book, specifically the Dresden Files. So if you enjoy the Dresden Files, this is kind of that comparable series. I am reading right now, for anybody who enjoys the Rivers of London series that takes place in England, that kind of world is what you're looking to compare it to. So if you enjoy a little bit of mystery, a little bit of, detective, amateur detective per se, this is the books that you will probably be enjoying it too.
So what genre would you call it?
This is straight urban fantasy.
Oh, okay. Urban fantasy. Okay.
Mhm.
Very nice. Well, I can't wait. I really can't wait to read that. I do like to read. I don't read a lot of fantasy, but I do like to read some, and I want to check this one out, especially find out about Texarkana Cannon. So, so when you write these books, so as an author, when you write these books, where does your information? Where do you get your information? How do you develop your characters through that information? I mean, you're talking about urban fantasy, so something that may not ever happen, or something that we just visualize could happen. But where does that come from for you?
So for me, it's a little bit kind of a dangerous territory. So urban fantasy is taking place in modern life. So you have to be specific about the places you're looking at it. Like one of the things that I did with my series that I accidentally did not pay attention to is one of the buildings that I picked from the very beginning. So like this intern talks about a grim hotel that happens in Texarkana. Well, the series is based on the Reapers and the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. So they talk to the dead. Well, the hotel itself is supposed to be haunted. So if you're talking about the horsemen and death and haunted and ghosts, you can't just not ignore that piece of information. So anybody who's writing fantasy or anybody who's writing urban fantasy, understanding the setting and understanding the history of it and being able to incorporate it is really important, or else people are going to call you on it. So these books, because it takes place in the modern day, I have people literally call me say, "Ooh, you got that straight right." I'm like, yes, Google Earth is my friend, because I have to make sure that these buildings are real. There are some locations that are going to be absolutely made up, like, Reapers Inc. has to be made up because what I need it for is not in town. We do have their main headquarters is Union Station, which is downtown, which is now like, it's actually not occupied. So supposedly they bought it for this series. So it's kind of adding a little bit of what's real with the magical and kind of incorporating the two in order to make it creative. The storyline itself is like, how much fun would I have if this happened? Or what if this could happen in Texarkana? How will this city survive? And usually not very well by the end of most of my books.
That does sound fun, actually. What's in the future for DC Gilda?
So right now I am back to another series. So we're doing another standalone series, and this is called Cottagecore. Are you guys familiar with Cottagecore? Because
No,
I was not.
I'm not.
Okay, good. I was not the only one. So I got introduced to this whole genre of cottagecore. So think of Practical Magic, that movie with Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock. It's something that takes place, in a cabin. There's nature involved, and it doesn't have to be romance-based. It can be kind of dark. So we have an entire series coming out in August starting. We're having another 9-book series, and it's cottage-based. So it's going to be another Intern Reapers book coming up this year. But it's actually based on, I'm going to put my hands on a romance. It's just not going to be your traditional one. So the whole concept is going to be sugar plums and Death's Intern. That's the title of the book. And as a concept, Bob doesn't believe in love until he met her. Too bad she's a ghost. And then we're going to go from there. So we have a little espionage, a little madness, and kind of shenanigans in that sense.
Very good. So the timeline is, will you have another book come out in 2025?
Yes, because I like to torture myself, and why not? Let's just make Amy understands. Like, why not? Let's just make this happen. Let's just add some deadlines in my life. And realize I'm a lot more productive when there's a deadline.
Right?
If not,
Yes.
I should talk about it. Nothing happens.
Yeah. I'm not
Another
productive
poor-
if there's like 20 timelines in a day. I'm not that
Yeah.
productive. Yeah.
Sounds like another poor life choice to me.
Such a poor life choice. Absolutely. Just, Russell, you nailed it.
But that is actually very healthy that you can laugh and say, yes, it is. And I have those deadlines. So that's cool.
Yes, I'm the believer that says mistakes were made, and here we are. So this is kind of
Okay. That's excellent. That's excellent.
And did you submit one of your books to the Fire Book Awards? I didn't
have
remember if I thought I saw your name on the list of authors that had
Which
submitted
one?
a book.
No.
Fire Book Awards. It's an
I have
award
not.
that. Okay, well then we'll have to make sure you know about it.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
I started it with Rita Mills, the person I'd worked with for years, 20-something years. She's the one that actually, when I first retired and started working with authors, she's the one that introduced me to the different organizations, especially in Houston, different authors. I mean, so together, she and I went on like a 20-year, journey where she would be helping me and I would do the marketing. She did book packaging, so help people that have their own publishing company. And so she called me, was it last year, Amy?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
said, I've been talking to Amy and Dina, and I think I'd love to start one of the things that's missing is a book award program that specifically helps indie authors
That'd be
and
awesome.
helps them understand the quality that's needed and all the whole thing. And so we finished our first year. We just did the awards in January, and starting on year 2. And as a result of that, one of the things to help them market, we are doing a interview, and now we're going to turn into a podcast. So I'd love to talk to you about being on our podcast. It's going to be Books on Fire. So
that's
can't
awesome.
wait. Well, and Russell will be one of our next interviewees. So Russell, we need to get you booked.
Absolutely. Now that I'm back from Houston hell in creation with all the grandchildren, it will be great. Can I ask a couple of questions, Sandy? Because I've been dying to ask her a couple of
Absolutely,
questions.
Russell.
Okay. Do you think it's false advertisement, DC, that you call yourself urban fantasy, but it's Texarkana? I mean, there's nothing urban. Why? Why?
She does go to other urban locations, so yes. So
What, the town next to Texarkana? Because
she goes to travel. She gets to travel
I'm
around.
just
So
trying.
yes.
I thought of
love
that
it.
joke. I had to ask. Okay. Can you tell us, because you've kind of teased about it, can you tell us about, we don't have much time, but just briefly about one of your quirkiest, funniest, or weirdest characters in your latest book?
So one of the quirkiest and probably everybody's favorite is Constantine, who happens to be a 5-dozen-year-old talking cat. So Constantine happens to be the trainer of the interns and Dad's right-hand cat. Let's just put it that way. So when you're thinking of a cat, for anybody who owns a cat, understands they want to rule your world, whether you like it or not, Constantine rules everything. And Constantine has the money, has, been around since ancient Egypt. And he is kind of that consistent character through all of my series. I kind of happened accidentally. I wrote this cat in. Everybody's like, is he magical? I was like, no, he's just a cat. He just happens to be a 5,000-year-old talking cat who owns, and everybody's terrified. So for anybody who has an obsession with cats, since I mysteriously picked one up, I guess, Constantine is that character that says everything we want to say. It just says this with an attitude. And Amy talked about snark and kind of like that banter back and forth. Everything about Constantine comes with that attitude.
That
I
makes
love
me
it.
so happy that I asked that question. I don't know, but that was a great, great answer. Thank you. And DC, how do people find out more about you or find out about your books?
Right now, believe it or not, is actually on my website. I feel like websites are like highways in Texas, they're always under construction. So you can check out DC Gomez, one word -author.com, and kind of find my handles if you're looking for my socials. I am probably the worst when it comes to social media. I try to be very active, but I have a very much, like Amy said, a very love relationship with them. I'm trying to be involved, and yet I tend to kind of space out when it comes to them. So my website is a great place. Join my newsletter. You can download a free short story. I send Monday motivations, and Constantine sends you a newsletter the last Saturday of every month. So if you need to connect with this cat, he can email you as well.
Nice. I love it. Russell's giving it back to
Absolutely.
you, Sandy.
Oh, okay. It's back to me. So, okay, so we talked about your future plans a little bit. We talked about, some of the things that are going on. And so, in the whole world of authors, what's your goal? Well, do you want to be the New York Times bestseller, or do you want to be the person that does the Comic Cons or does, all of those kind of programs? So where do you see yourself in the author community?
When I first started out, I used to joke about that I either wanted to have a cult following or be a household name. That was my joke. Like, now I just want it all. Can I say that? And honestly, just own it. Be able to say that I enjoy the connection. I enjoy meeting the people. I enjoy the Comic Cons. And yes, I still want to have like the whole bestseller. I think sometimes as authors, we want to be able to validate the reasons of the things that we want instead of just saying that we want it. So I am owning the whole space that I was like, what do you want? Like, I want it all. Like, I want people to enjoy the stories. I want to entertain. I also want to be able to go to Comic Cons. I want to be able, I'm getting ready, Amy, you should be proud. I'm getting ready to start doing cosplaying, which is something that I've never done. So I'm going to do cosplays on my characters as well. One thing that has changed after the years of being in this business is realizing that at the end of the day, if we're not having fun, this becomes just another job. It becomes very long hours and very, very miserable.
Thank you.
So this year has completely changed the way I look at it. Like, I really want to come in with a whole, like, it's going to be fun. And if it's not fun, then I don't need to be doing it because we can do other things a lot easier. So it is very much, the stories are going to be fun. They're going to be stories that I want to tell. There's going to be stories that I enjoy to read, but also be present in the way that I want to be present and be able to connect with people with my own energy, with my own style. And it's kind of hard because when we start, we were trying to do everything everybody else is doing, and we want to do all these things, and then we're miserable. So I'm like, it's going to be a little different this year. I think it's going to be much more, it's a wild ride. Buckle up, because we're just going to have fun.
Though.
I do too. I love that. And I'm with you. I want to have everything. I don't want to, yes, have a dream, have a goal, see the star, all of that. But because you do want to have a way in goals that you would be reaching to get to there. But still, in the whole scheme of the world itself, you want to be only the best-selling author, but you want to be the one that someone comes up to him and says, when I read your book, it just changed my life. So you want all of that. So that's great. I love that. And I have so enjoyed this interview, DC. So thank you very much. And can't wait. And if you ever come back to Houston or come to Houston, I don't know if you've ever been here, but if you do ever come to Houston, I'd love to sit down and have coffee with you.
It's a pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you so much. And absolutely, I seem to spend a lot of time in Houston for a person who's not anywhere near you guys. So yes, absolutely.
Sounds wonderful. So, Amy, I will turn it back over to you now.
Well, you guys are going to hear my daughter talking to herself in the background. But yes, no, DC, it's always fun to have you here hanging out with us, talking about your books. And I'm glad that you're getting into cosplay. You're going to Comic Cons. I'm going to live vicariously through you for the time being. But I'm excited. I think, yes, I don't think you can just continuously write, not have fun with it, because then it just becomes a stressful another job, right? And it's meant to be fun, a hobby, stress relieving, enjoyment. So you have to find the enjoyment in it somehow. So I love what you're doing. I am a huge advocate for it. And you have so many books and stuff. And yes, your humor is in your books, very much so. And I do love them. So, Russell, do you have any questions or are you good?
I'm good. I've asked what I want.
All right.
I have lots of questions about her location at Texarkana, but I'm just not going there. So I'll just be quiet.
DC, you should be grateful. Be grateful.
He cannot let that one go, DC.
At least something connected. That's all that matters.
There you
have
go.
your undivided attention, so it worked.
Absolutely. It's okay, DC. Me and you can be in that bubble together because I live in Aggie land and Russell went to UT. So it's a whole thing.
Oh,
I understand. Yeah, exactly. I understand the whole I get it 100%. But no, DC, it's always fun to have you on. So thanks for taking time out of your morning to come hang out and chit chat with us, tell you what you've got going on, and letting us be a part of it. So thanks for hanging out with us this morning.
Thank you. You guys have an amazing, amazing week.
Oh, we shall try.
Absolutely.
We shall try. Oh my gosh, you guys, next week it's already March. Can you believe this? Oh my goodness. I know. Sandy's in countdown mode to going to Mexico, you guys. But until then, everybody in Texas, stay warm. Have a great Monday, a great rest of your week. And until next Monday, bye for now.